यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना क्षीरवनचारी यमुना क्षीरवनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Thank you very much and sorry for the delay. I thought it's late. This is my first time that I will be giving Caitanya Caritamrita. So apologies in case there is any fault from my side. So we will be reading from the Madhya Lila today. And I think it's chapter 22, text 16. So since it is Caitanya Caritamrita, I think that we also need to sing this small 2 lines too. जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। कामादीनां कठिन कटित पलित दुर्निदेशास् तेषां जतमयिन करुणा न नोपसन्ति उत्सृजैतान् अथ यदुपदे सम्प्रतां लब्धबुद्धे उत्सृजैतान् अथ यदुपते सम्प्रतां लब्धबुद्धे त्वामायात शरणम् अभयम् मननीयं स्वात्मदास्ये त्वामायत शरणम् अभयं मामनीयं स्वात्मदास्ये कामादीनां कठिनकटितपतिपलिता दुर्निदेशास् कामादीनां कठिनकटितपलिता दुर्निदेशास् तेषां जातमयि न करुणा न तृपनोपसन्ति तेषां जातमयि न करुणा न तृपनोपसन्ति उत्सृजैतान् अथ यदुपते सम्प्रतं लब्धबुद्धेस् उत्सृजैतान् अथ यदुपते सम्प्रत लब्धबुद्धेस् त्वामायत शरणम् अभयं मां स्वात्मदासे त्वामायत शरणम् अभयं मां स्वात्मदासे कामादीनां कठिनकटितपलिता दुर्निदेशास् कामादीनां कठिनपटिता दुर्निदेशास् तेषां जातमयि न करुणा न तृपनोपसन्ति तेषां जातमयि न करुणा न तृपनोपसन्ति उत्सृजैतान् अथ यदुपते सम्प्रतं लब्धबुद्धेस् उत्सृजैतान् अथ यदुपते सम्प्रतं लब्धबुद्धेस् Tvamayata saranam abhayam mam niyung svatmadasye. Tvamayata saranam abhayam mam niyung svatmadasye. Katinap katita palita durnidesas. Tesam jatamayna karuna natrapano pashanti. Utsrijaitam yatha yadupate sampratam labdha buddhis. Tvamayata sharanam abhayam mam niyung svatmadasye. Matais. Kamadinam katina katita palita durnidesas. Tesam jatamayna karuna natrapano pashanti. Utsrijaitan athayadupate sampratam labdha buddhis. Tvamayata saranam abhayam mam niyung svatmadasye. So, Kamadinim, of my masters such as lust, greed, illusion and envy. Kati, how many? Na, not. Katida, in how many ways? Palitaha, obeyed. No nideshaha, undesirable orders. Tesam, of them. Jata, generated. Mai, unto me. Na, not. Karuna, mercy. Na, not. Trapa, shame. Na, not. Upasanti, desire to cease. Utsrijya, giving up. Etan, all these. Atha, herewith. Yadupate, O best of the Yadu dynasty. Sampratam, now. Labdha buddhi, having awakened intelligence. Tvam, you. Ayata, approached. Sharanam, who are the shelter. Abhayam, fearless. Mam, may. Nyungsva, please engage. Atma Dasye, in your personal service. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. Although I have rendered these desires so much service, they have not shown any mercy to me. I have not been ashamed to serve them, not have I even desired to give them up. O my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened, and now I am giving them up. Due to transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires, and now I come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. Purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This verse is also quoted in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.2.35. When we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are saying, Hare, O energy of the Lord, O my Lord Krishna. In this way, we are simply addressing the Lord and His spiritual potency, represented as Radha Krishna, Sita Ram, or Lakshmi Narayan. The devotee always prays to the Lord and His internal energy consort so that he may engage in the transcendental loving service. When the conditioned soul attains his real spiritual energy and fully surrenders unto the Lord's lotus feet, he tries to engage in the Lord's service. This is the real constitutional position of the living entity. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadameyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So So let me read the translation again. Basically what is key here, if you look at it, it's an extremely important verse from the Caitanya Caritamrita, and it's actually, if you look deeper, it's Rupa Goswami has said that this basically brings out what you call as the Dasya Rasa in a devotee, and this specifically talks about the Dasya Rasa. So let me go through that once again in translation and purport. O my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. Although I have rendered these desires so much service, they have not shown any mercy to me. I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up. O my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened, and now I am giving them up. Due to transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires, and now I come you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. So, if you actually see this particular verse here, and even in the purport, it is also said by Prabhupada that this is the essence of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this is what we are actually asking the Lord to engage the Radharani, the Lord, the internal potency, whatever you can call it, to engage in His service. Why? Why? Because what's said here, I think Sanatana Goswami said this, is that, Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. And he says that how much ever I have given service to these desires, they have not shown any mercy to me. Instead of coming down, they have only grown more and more. So our thinking is that, if you try to invoke something in a way, it will, at least the lusty desires will go down. But here he has said that the more he has tried to engage with these lusty desires, the more it has been, attracting him towards it more and more. And he has never been ashamed to, serve them. And he has never even desired to give them up. The more he had, tried to engage himself in lusty desires, the more he has become attracted to him. But he said that now his intelligence has been awakened. Now he's become much more intelligence, and due to this transcendental intelligence, he says that now I refuse to obey these unwanted orders of these desires, and now he's saying that I want to surrender to you at your fearless lotus feet. So he's saying, kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. And that is what we do by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And if you see, see, there are 4 types of the rasas, dasas. The one is called the Adhikrita dasa. These are basically dasas like demigods appointed to specific service in this material world. Second is the Ashrita dasa, devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord's protection. Third is what they call as Parisada dasa, intimate ministers who render various personal service. And Last is called the Dasa, intimate followers of the Lord in Vraj and Dwarka. So, if within that, if you look at Asrita Dasa, who are the devotees under the Lord's protection, there are again three types of Asrita Dasa. One is called Sharanagata, those who take shelter of the Lord's protection due to fear of material existence. Being afraid of this material existence, we have taken shelter of you, for you can completely protect us. These are the kinds of called the Saranagata Dasa. Then Jnanichari Dasa, those who have realized Brahman but give up the desire for moksha and take shelter of Krishna, knowing him to be the origin of Brahman. So they are the ones who say, we are well aware of your greatness. As such, we have given up our desire for liberation and have taken shelter under your lotus feet. Third are the Sevanishta, those who simply love Krishna and therefore have fixed desire to serve him. They say that since we have heard about your ever-increasing transcendental love, we have voluntarily engaged ourselves in your transcendental service. In this verse, we come under what they call as Saranagata, the people, those who take shelter of the Lord's protection due to fear of material existence. So if you look at this particular verse, what is being said? Please, I just want to not get attracted to lusty desires. Please take me away from this. And therefore, please bring me under your protection. So these are the people like, me, whoever that we say, who are trying day in and day out to see how we can get away from, these kinds of thoughts, our lusty desires. And these are the Ashrita Dasa. These are the devotees of Lord who are in Sharanagata. Sharanagata meaning they have renounced themselves or they surrendered to the Lord. They want to surrender to the Lord because they feel this is the only best way to be able to get away from this bondage of lust. So, also if you see, in the Garuda Purana, it is said, Kalau Bhagavatam Nama Durlabam Naiva Labhyate Brahma Rudra Padokshittam Gurunakati Tammama. Which means that in this age of Kali, the fame of one who is known as a great devotee is very rare. However, such a position is superior to that of great demigods like Brahma and Shiva. This is the opinion of all spiritual masters. So, in case, because in this age of Kali, you cannot become famous just by being a great devotee. But the fact of the matter is, you will have to endeavor to try to be a great devotee of the Lord. Similarly, in Bhagavatam 10.48.26 says that Ka panditas tvad aparam sharanam samiyat bhakta priyat ritagra sorhad kritaknyat sarvan dadati surdo bhajato bhikamam atmanam api upachayate pachayo na yasya. So, this means that what learned person would approach anyone but you for shelter when you are the affectionate, grateful and truthful well-wisher of your devotees. To those who worship you in sincere friendship, you reward everything they desire, even your own self, yet you never increase or diminish. So, this, if you try to, for example, look at what kind of love Yashoda had for Krishna, it was selfless. Even today in this material world, if you ask a mother, if a child is small or if he has grown up, he has a lot of wealth, still there is utmost love of the mother towards her son, however successful he may be. So, and Lord Krishna had promised Akrura that he would return home after killing Kamsa, and Lord kept his promise. This is recognized by Akrura as Ritagira, one who is true to his word. Lord is Kritagnya, grateful for whatever little worship a devotee offers him. What we want to compare with today's Kali Yuga is that suppose we are working in a company, we give our heart out, we work hard, we put our hearts out to serve the company. But in terms of reciprocation, we get money. But do we get any happiness out of it? But if you keep serving Krishna, even in a very small way, it could be very minute, what you will notice is that you may forget it, but Krishna would somehow will reciprocate it in some way. So please try to keep on engage in the service of Krishna, because he is somebody, like Akurura said, Kritagnya. Kritagnya is one who is always grateful, a lot of gratitude for whatever little service that you do in your current life. And instead of trying to pursue your material desires, what you have to see, how you can engage yourself more and more in the service of Krishna, and thereby get the benefits of progressing in your spiritual journey. So, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Matsya, if you keep on serving faithfully, the masters, as I said, they are never satisfied. They keep on trying to exploit you day in and day out. In contrast to Krishna, where whatever service that you put in, you will somehow benefit some way or the other in some moment of your life, which you may not realize. And in the Mahabharata Anushasana Parva, chapter 13, it says that Yat Prityam Yavam Hiranyam Pashva Striyayaha Nalam Ekasya Tat Sarvam Iti Matva Samvrajet. This translates to understanding that all that is available on earth in the form of food, gold, animals, and women is not enough for oneself. One should therefore, one should go about with a peaceful life. So what it says that it emphasizes contentment and the futility of material desires. Understanding all that is available of earth in the form of gold, animals, food, and women is not enough for oneself. Therefore, one should go about with a very peaceful life and be content and understand that material desires will never bring you anything. Also, if you see, there was this king called Yayati. I don't know if you know that. He was somebody who was married to Shukracharya's daughter Devyani. And he ended up marrying her best friend Sharmishta. And because of which Devyani was very sad and went and complained to Lord Shukracharya, sage Shukracharya, and Shukracharya ended up cursing Yayati. And he told Yayati that since you're so lusty, you will from now on become old. So he ended up becoming old at a very young age. But, what happened was that, Yayati begged for forgiveness, and then Shukracharya said that once a curse is given, I cannot take it back, but the only option you have is that if you want, you can exchange this old age with anybody that you want, and he can take over your old age. So Yayati, since he was still, wanted to enjoy the material desires of his lusty thoughts, he went and asked each of his sons. But none of his sons were agreeing to exchange his old age for their youth. But the youngest son, Puru, he said that, okay, please, I will exchange my, youth with you. And in that way, he exchanged his youth with Yayati. And Yayati lived for 1,000 years, enjoying this material desires and then his lusty thoughts. But at the end of all of this, he finally realized that this is not going to serve him any purpose. So he ended up then giving back his youth back to Puru, and then he renounced everything and engaged in the service of the Lord. So if you see in Canto 9, chapter 19, from verse 13, I'll read out the realizations of Yayati about lusty desires. What he talks about lusty desires. So he said that Yat Prityam Vrihi Yavam Hiranyam Pasava Striya Na Dhuyanti Mana Pritim Pumsa Kama Hatasthyate. He says that a person who is lusty cannot satisfy his mind even if he has enough of everything in this world, including rice, barley, and other food grains, gold, animals, and women. Nothing can satisfy him. So, So this means that improvement was of one's ecosystem condition, economic condition is the aim and subject of a materialist. That is what we know, that we want to improve our economic condition. We want to buy more gold, more anything that will satisfy our material desires. But he will never be pleased. Even if he gets all the material wealth of the world, you will understand that you will never be pleased with this. In this way, we see so much material improvement, but still people are struggling to get more and more material opulence. Manas Sastan Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karsati. Although every living being is a part of the Supreme Being, because of lusty desires, one continuously struggles for so-called betterment of one's economic conditions. To have a satisfied mind, one must give up his heart disease of lusty desires. This can be done only when one is Krishna consciousness. So again, it's quoted from Bhagavatam 10.33.39. Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hridrogam apahinoti achirena dhiraha. So if one becomes Krishna conscious, then he can give up this heart disease. Otherwise this disease of lusty desires will continue and one cannot have peace of mind. And if you see, even if people like Narottam Das Thakur or Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they have also talked in all their bhajans about this particular aspect, that I don't know if you know this bhajan, Gopinath Mama Nivedana. In there, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that I am totally engaged in all of this pursuit of this material desires by lust, lobha, krodha, maya, all of that I am completely engaged. Please, please, please ensure that I am away from all of this and I don't get attracted to it. So even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has also talked about lust and lusty desires and says that that is the root cause of anything and everything that impedes spiritual progress for all of us. Going further, Yayati also says, Na jatu kama kamanam upabhoge na samyati havisha krishna vartameva bhuya eva vivardate. It means that as supplying butter to a fire does not diminish the fire but instead increases it more and more, the endeavor to stop lusty desires by continual enjoyment can never be successful. In fact, one must voluntarily cease from material desires. So it will never happen that you don't try to get away from material desires and not be attracted to it. You will be attracted more and more, like as he says here, as supplying butter to a fire does not diminish the fire. The more you put in lusty desires, it is only going to increase the fire within you. It is not going to bring it down. So the only option for you is, as I said, chant more, engage yourself in the service of Krishna more, and develop this higher taste so that you are automatically, as far as possible, getting away from whatever thoughts that come to your mind. So you may have enough money, you may have enough resources to satisfy the senses, but you cannot stop a blazing fire by trying to extinguish it with butter. With butter, you are only going to increase it more and more. Going further, Yayati says that Yadana kurute bhavam sarva bhuteshva amangalam samadrishtas tada pumsa sarva sukhamaya dishaha. When a man is non-envious and does not desire ill fortune for anyone, he is equipoised. For such a person, all directions appear happy. So, here it says that Prabhonanda Saraswati Swami, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, when one becomes Krishna conscious by the mercy of Lord Caitanya, for him the entire world appears happy and he has nothing for which to hanker. On the Brahma Bhuta stage or the platform of spiritual realization, there is no lamentation and no material hankering. Na sochati na kankshati. As long as one lives in the material world, actions and reactions will continue. But when he is unaffected by such material actions and reactions, he is to be considered free from the danger of being victimized by material desires. The symptom of those who are satiated with lusty desires are described in this verse, as explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. When one is not envious even of his enemy, does not expect honor from anyone, but instead desires all well-being even for his enemy, he is understood to be a Paramahansa, one who has fully subdued the lusty desire for sense gratification. So what this means that, the more these thoughts come into your mind, the more you will be, it follows with anger towards others. You will feel envious about others. You will try to become better than them in material pursuits. But here, if you can look at it the other way, what is lust here is love for Krishna in the spiritual world. If you can see, if you can convert this negative or the how do I say, this form of love into the love for Krishna, automatically you will see a difference around you also. You will not feel envious towards the others. You will not feel that, okay, he's having a better life than you. Because these are thoughts which are pretty normal in today's world, that if somebody is successful, you start becoming envious and look for reasons how you can, how you can pull him down, or why he is so, and why he is so successful. Whereas if you can look at it like, if you are equipoised and are not affected by whatever happens to him, because he is undergoing his own journey, you are not aware of what problems that he is going through, what negative impact the material wealth has on his own nature, on his own behavior. These are things which are not known to you. You should be focused on taking inspiration from these things that happen around you, good or bad, and get engaged more and more in Krishna. We look at it always that when there is something bad happening, then only we think of Krishna. But when good happens, or when good happens around you, then also you don't think that, okay, let me engage more in Krishna and let me not get also into the good aspects of it, because you know the pitfalls of following that or trying to engage in more and more economic progress for yourself rather than spiritual progress for yourself. This is a very, how do I say, difficult thing to kind of, we call it tightrope walking, to see whether should I go for the material side or should I go in the spiritual direction. But if you can be equipoised and be able to balance that and try to use your material resources in such a way that you can engage more and more in Krishna, you will get the benefits of it. And that is what Yayati is trying right from the outset, because he has himself experienced it. What he has done is that, okay, he was firstly married to Devyani, so he was, attracted to somebody that way. Then he was attracted to Sharmishta, and then he wanted to enjoy more and more. But after having enjoyed all of that, finally he realized it has not served him any purpose at all. The best thing he did was he renounced everything, went into the forest, and then surrendered himself to Krishna. And then only he achieved whatever progress, spiritual progress that was required. So material and benefits never bought him anything. Going further, he says that ya dushtaya durmatibir jiryato yana jiryate tam trishnam dukha nivaham sarma kamo drutam tyajet. For those who are too attached to material enjoyment, sense gratification is very difficult to give up. Even when one is an invalid because of old age, one cannot give up such desires for sense gratification. Therefore, one who actually desires happiness but give up such unsatisfied desires, which are the causes of all tribulations. So we have seen of late, that very, very old people also, like Bill Gates or all these people, the head of Sky, Rupert Murdoch and all, they end up marrying again and again at the age of 90 and so on, So although such, and they will pay, a lot of money to drink wine and associate with women. Although such men are too old to enjoy anything, their desires have not ceased. Time deteriorates even the body itself, which is the medium for all sensual satisfaction. But even when a man becomes old and invalid, his desires are strong enough to dictate that he go here and there to satisfy the desires of his senses. Therefore, by the practice of bhakti yoga, one should give up his lusty desires, as explained by Sri Yamunacharya, which is very, very famous, knowing Yamunacharya. He says that, Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padaravinde Navanavarasa dhamani udyatam rantum asit tadavadi bata nari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukhavikhara sustu nishthivanam cha. So when one is Krishna consciousness, he get more and more happiness by discharging duties for Krishna. Such a person spits on sense gratification. And that's what Yamunacharya says, that let us spit on sense gratification, especially that of sexual enjoyment. An experienced, advanced devotee is no longer interested in sex life. The strong desire for sex can be subdued only by advancement in Krishna consciousness. Going further, he says that Matras Vasra Duhitra Va Navivakt Asano Bhavet Balavan Indriya Gramo Vidvamsam Apikarsati. So one should not allow oneself to sit on the same seat even with one's own mother, sister or daughter, for the senses are so strong that even though one is very advanced in knowledge, he may be attracted by sex. Learning the etiquette of how to deal with women does not free one from sexual attraction. As mentioned, specifically mentioned here, with such attraction is possible even with one's mother, sister or daughter. Generally, of course, one is not sexually attracted to his mother, sister or daughter. But if one allows himself to sit very close to such a woman, one may be attracted. This is a psychological fact. It may be said that one is liable to be attracted if he is not very advanced in civilized life. However, as specifically mentioned here, with vamsam apikarsati, even if one is highly advanced materially or spiritually, he may be attracted by lusty desires. The object of attraction and may even be one's mother, sister or daughter. Therefore, one should be extremely careful in dealing with women. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the most strict in such dealings. Even after he accepted the sannyasa order, indeed, no woman could come near him to offer him respect. Again, one is warned herewith that one should be careful, extremely careful in dealing with women. A brahmachari is forbidden even to see the wife of his spiritual master if she appears to be young. The wife of the spiritual master may sometimes take some service from the disciple of her husband as she would from a son. But if the wife of the spiritual master is young, a brahmachari is forbidden to render service to her. So again, this is taking one aspect of lusty desires, which is attraction to physical features and bodily attraction, and it is always said that at least in comparison to women and all that, one has to ensure that one maintains a particular distance and respect with women to be able to follow or curb one's thoughts and be able to follow in one's spiritual journey without any hindrance. And that is the only thing we can do is by praying to Radharani and to Krishna, to pray to them with so much devotion and chant, as you said, with that cry within you, telling that please help me get a higher taste on everything. It is not only related to physical attraction, to food, and all the things that the senses get attracted to, which again pulls you back into the material life. Instead of that, the more you engage into Krishna consciousness, you will be able to slowly forget about all these things and therefore ensure that you are able to follow in your spiritual journey without these hindrances and obstacles. Going further, Yayati says, Purnam Varsha Sahasram me Vishavan Sevato Sakrat Tathapi Chanusavanam Trishna Teshu Pajayate. I have spent a full 1000 years enjoying sense gratification, yet my desire to enjoy such pleasure increases daily. Maharaj Yayati is explaining in terms of his actual experience how strong his desires was even in old age. So he has therefore experienced it all himself, and he is telling you, warning you, I have done it, so please don't make this mistake. Going further, he says that Tasmad etam aham tyaktva brahmani adhyaya manasam nirdvandvo niranka aras charisyami mrigai saha. Therefore, I shall now give up all these desires. At the end of all of these things, he then realized this, and therefore he says, which is also said in this verse, therefore I shall now give up all these desires and meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Free from the dualities of mental concoction and free from false prestige, I shall wander in the forest with the animals. So, to go to the forest and live there with the animals, meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only means by which to give up lusty desires. Unless one gives up such desires, one's mind cannot be freed from material contamination. Therefore, if one is at all interested in being freed from the bondage of repeated birth, death, old age and disease after a certain age, one must go to the forest. Of course, in this material world, we are not able to go to a forest, but what is the meaning of going to the forest is how you can detach yourself in your day-to-day material activities as you get older. And from a young age, if you can inculcate this discipline within you, then it becomes easy for you as you grow older to detach yourself from all of these aspects around you. Because by the time you would have got so much engaged into Krishna and to build up your relationship with Krishna with the chanting that you do every day. The more you chant, the more you will be able to build up this relationship with Krishna. And the more you, how do I say, using chanting, call out to Krishna from within, he will try to ensure that, he facilitates your journey and ensures that you are able to detach yourself from all the material activities that around you which try to pull you more and more. So, Panchashorvdvam Vanam Vrajet. After 50 years of service, one should voluntarily give up family life and go to the forest. The best forest is Vrindavana, where one need not live with the animals but can associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead who never leaves Vrindavan. Cultivating Krishna consciousness in Vrindavan is the best means of being liberated from material bondage, for in Vrindavan, one can automatically meditate upon Krishna. Vrindavan has many temples, and in one more of these temples, one may see the form of the Supreme Lord as Radha Krishna or Krishna Balram and meditate upon this form. As expressed here by the words Brahmani Adhyaya, one should concentrate one's mind upon the Supreme Lord Parabrahman. This Parabrahman is Krishna as confirmed by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. Krishna and his abode Vrindavan are not different. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu says, Aradhyo Bhagavan Rajeshat, Tanayas Tad, Dham Vrindavanam. Vrindavan is as good as Krishna. Therefore, if one somehow or other gets the opportunity to live in Vrindavan, and if one is not a pretender but simply lives in Vrindavan and concentrates his mind upon Krishna, one is liberated from material bondage. One's mind is not purified, however, even in Vrindavan, if one is agitated by lusty desires, one should not live in Vrindavan and commit offenses. For a life of offenses in Vrindavan is no better than the lives of monkeys and hogs. There, many monkeys and hogs live in Vrindavan and they are concerned with their sexual desires. Men who have gone to Vrindavan but who still hanker for sex should immediately leave Vrindavan and stop their grievous offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord. There are many misguided men who live in Vrindavan to satisfy their sexual desires, but they are certainly no better than the monkeys and hogs. Those who are under the control of Maya and specifically under the control of lusty desires are called Mayamriga. Indeed, everyone in the conditional stage of material life is Mayamriga. It is said that Mayamrigam Daitayespitam Anvadavad. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyasa to show his causeless mercy to the Mayamrigas, the people of the material world who suffer because of lusty desires. One should follow the principles of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and always think of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Then one will be eligible to live in Vrindavan and his life will be successful. Now one may say that, okay, I'm living here in Germany in such a far off place. How will I go to Vrindavan, or when will I get the opportunity to go to Vrindavan, and will I be able to live in Vrindavan? Obviously, yes, if you can think about it, if you desire, automatically you will get an opportunity to go to Vrindavan. I have been fortunate that way that, of course, I grew up in India, and once I got connected to ISKCON, that was the first time that actually I could go to Vrindavan. And it is also said that, you cannot think that, okay, I'll go to Vrindavan and book a ticket and you will reach there. It is the mercy of Radharani who will ensure that, you are able to go to Vrindavan and enjoy the pastimes of Krishna. And it is also, as you say that it's not that all is hunky-dory in Vrindavan, that there are also people who are still following material life there, and they will not be able to really experience Krishna and Krishna's pastimes there. It is only if your mind, in your thoughts, if you are able to think about Krishna, then you will be able to experience whatever pastimes that Krishna may have had. And once you do the Govardhan Parikrama, you will then be able to see the pastimes that Krishna did. And I was listening to a lecture last week, and where the pastime of Krishna stealing butter was mentioned. And if you look at it in a very spiritual way, what was mentioned was the butter inside the pot is like the Jivatma. Krishna just wants the Jivatma. So therefore he goes and steals butter, in Vrindavan. And that is directly connected to, he doesn't look at the body around, the pot, which is the body, but the soul. He's trying to ensure that his love for that butter shows his love and attachment to the Jivatma. It is just that you have to make the endeavor to be able to try to see how you can come closer and closer to Krishna by remembering him. And how you're remembering, like all these Matajis are doing, doing this kind of service and engage yourself in Krishna's thoughts and automatically, some way or the other, you will be given an opportunity to build your relationship more and more towards Krishna. Krishna will come more and more closer to you. So, it's also said that, by Krishna is why the soul, in the Gita it says that Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tata deyantara praptis dhiras satrana muyati. As the embodied soul passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at the time of death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. So, if you can yourself realize that the body is just like a cage for the soul, it has just come into effect because of whatever that thoughts you had in your last birth and whatever karma that you built it up. You are in that particular cage to be. Therefore, you have to undergo this present term within this body. But the day you realize that this is just the body, which is going to go through these various stages, and that's why it's called the self-realized soul. Once you realize that, once you come to that position or that level, automatically then you will feel this difference and be able to, how do I say, endure or more or less navigate through this life that you are currently leading with all those obstacles that come around you. Because day in and day out, you will be facing these challenges to get away from Krishna consciousness, get away from this chanting. You will say, oh, I'm doing this chanting. I don't see any effect of this chanting on me. So why should I chant? Why should I engage in my service? This is the most difficult thing, that in this journey, it is like there are two ways of treating yourself. One is what we call as the allopathic way, which directly you go to a doctor, you have a pain, take a painkiller and immediately it goes. Or do you want something where the root itself, the root of this disease is taken off, that is Krishna consciousness. You will have to start from the root. Once you go to the root and engage yourself and try to eliminate that part of it, you will never get a pain. This journey is very slow. The results don't come immediately like taking an allopathic medicine, a painkiller, and immediately the pain goes. The journey, therefore, you will have to have a lot of patience, and you will have to, therefore, keep on believing in that, trusting in that, and slowly, in small ways, you will notice certain changes within you, which will therefore help you to become more confident about building your relationship with Krishna, because you can never get away from the fact you will get this momentary happiness phases once in a while, but inevitably you will come up with obstacles, come up with certain miseries, which will stop you in your progress, and then you will again come to Krishna. So it shouldn't be an opportunistic way of going towards Krishna. It should be a continuous way. Irrespective of whatever goes around you, how much can you devote yourself to Krishna's service, Krishna's thoughts, Krishna's pastimes, so that your mind is completely always thinking of Krishna, and none of those things that are around you, which are the material aspects which will try to pull you down, don't affect you. As I said, it is easier said than done. It can't be done, in such a way. And therefore, as if there are certain bhajans which are by Narottam Das Thakur, which is one is Nitai Pada Kamala or Hari Hari Bifale Janama Gunainu, and one more bhajan by Govinda Das. All of this I think you must have sung so many times. Bhajaure Mana Shri Nanda Nandana. These are different bhajans wherein all of those acharyas are only trying to tell that Krishna, please engage me in your service. Please ensure that I get more and more devoted to you and get away from all these lusty desires. So, they actually offer practical tips. These bhajans, they offer practical tips in way that you first, how do you get away from all these lusty desires? Firstly, you should engage in chanting and bhajans. Meditation on Krishna's pastimes, which we do by reading the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Then seek association of devotees. That is extremely important, because you always will get inspired by them with whatever that they do, with whatever difficulties that they're there, how they persist in Krishna consciousness, how they ensure that they keep following Krishna in whatever way. So please keep associating yourself with devotees, the right kind of devotees. You seek for those association. Then you have to regulate senses. You follow the Vedic principles to channel your desires appropriately. Then pray for divine help by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Sincerely pray to Krishna for strength to overcome lust and cultivate love for him, which is opposite of material lust. Lastly, you have to focus on service. Engage all your senses in Krishna's service through temple worship, cooking prasadam, or distributing knowledge to purify desires. These are things which we know. It is easy, as I said, it is easier said than done. But the more you think of Krishna when you do this service, the more you will be able to become serious about it, the more it will engage you. But if you're doing this service but thinking about completely something else, then that is going to affect you. That will be an impediment in your service. So therefore we try to see, okay, if your mind is stable, if something happens to you, you ever had a fight, then you will immediately find that, you will have problems chanting. So, or if there is something which you get attracted to, which is negative, again you find that there is an, obstacle in your chanting or your service to Krishna. So try to see if you can get away from all of this when you actually engage in Krishna's service. And therefore we listen to his lectures or listen to the kirtan, but that should get into your mind. Then only finally whatever service you are going to do, you do it with that dedication to Krishna. So that is something which we also need to ensure. And also it is said that the intelligence in you also plays a crucial role in overcoming lust by enabling individuals to understand, analyze, and counteract this influence of lusty desires. So how do you do that with your intelligence that you have, that you've been given as a human being? Is that first you have to understand lust's nature. Intelligence helps recognize that lust is rooted in temporary sense gratification and often leads to suffering. That your intelligence will realize that. The Bhagavad Gita describes lust as an enemy that clouds wisdom and must be overcome through self-awareness and discipline, which is also said by Krishna. And if you look at verses 3.37 and 3.43, Krishna himself tells this. Then you have to analyze the root cause. That's what I said. Analyze the root cause also for the disease and also for this lusty desires or desires that you have. Using intelligence, one can identify triggers for lust, such as sense objects, and avoid them. This proactive approach prevents the mind from being vulnerable to temptations. So as soon as you realize that there is some temptation happening, you have to be able to withdraw your senses immediately and try to engage yourself in Krishna's activities so that you get away from them. This is a way of proactively using your intelligence to get away from these kinds of triggers that happen around your life. Third, you have to develop insights. Insightful thinking allows individuals to see the drawbacks of indulging in lust and the higher satisfaction of spiritual pursuits. Real intelligence lies in figuring out why lust holds power over mind and finding ways to transcend it. So this is also a way of reflecting within oneself and thinking about all the things that has, if you look at it, made you going more and more towards material thoughts or material activities, and therefore being pulled away from, Krishna consciousness or things that develop your relationship with Krishna. And that is what we call as higher taste. Easier said than done. If you like, for example, if you are addicted to certain things, what you try to do, for example, somebody is addicted to smoking. What he tries to do is that, okay, the first step is let me try to do smoking with e-cigarettes. But again, he's still again engaging in, that kind of addiction. You will have to see if you can do a big bang approach and say, stop, I will not get addicted to this, or I will not do this. This is the kind of strict things that you may need to do within you to be able to get away from whatever they call as lusty desires or thoughts or material activities which will try to be an obstacle in your spiritual journey. And you have to engage in higher goals, which we know. And finally, of course, you have to seek spiritual guidance and divine guidance from Krishna. That is the only best way for you to be able to progress in your spiritual journey. So at the end of the day, if you again go through this translation, I don't know if you can understand it here. It's a plea that is said by Sanatana Goswami, where he says that, "Oh my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires." Somebody even so highly realized, he is making this statement. So just imagine how difficult it is for somebody like him, who is more like a pure devotee, somebody like him, if he can have this, how difficult it is for us. Therefore, we will have to use our motivation or get motivated by them and see whether we can bring out this thought, this particular intention within ourselves by dedicatedly chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So he says that although I have rendered these desires so much service, so he also has rendered desires, to service to such desires. They have not shown any mercy on me, so it will never show mercy. I have not been ashamed to serve them, not have I even desired to give them up. So he's very honest. So one should be honest about the fact that yes, I have been doing that more and more. How can I slowly try to get away from this fueling the desires within myself? Oh my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened. Who has awakened this intelligence? Krishna only has done it. Krishna has ensured that your intelligence is awakened, and now I am giving them up. So, can you come to that stage to give up this due to transcendental intelligence? So, he has suddenly got this, not suddenly, of course, with this journey of chanting and dedication, he has suddenly got this transcendental intelligence. Now I refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires. So our benchmark should be to reach that particular aspect, to be able to obey these unwanted, not or refuse to obey the unwanted desires, orders of these desires. And now I come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. That is what you keep on doing it. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. And you do in what way? You say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In this way, the more you do it with dedication, slowly, hopefully, you will come to a stage where you can sincerely say that, yes, all these things around me they are affecting me, but not to the great extent that initially I thought so. And this will slowly help me to move forward in my spiritual journey and thereby come closer to Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, comments? Oh.
One point what you said in the beginning of the lecture, I'm always curious about it because you mentioned this different rasas where we basically be situated. So my question is, are we eternally situated in this rasa, or do we aim for a rasa? Because, if normally the sampradaya or the guru they kind of giving the rasa. The guru gives you, okay, you want to follow me, then you serve as a saki, parent, whatever. But in our sampradaya, it's a little bit vague. Of course, we know Mahaprabhu himself was in Gopi Ras, but then we have Nityananda Prabhu or something who was in Sakya Ras. So we as, coming from the West, I mean, at least us, or me, what should we inspire for? Do we have to choose a particular path, or is this path already engraved in ourself, in our soul?
It's a very good question. I think if I look at, what Rupa Goswami has said, this is basically, I quoted from the Nectar of Devotion. It's not something that I created myself. But I look at, personally, if I look at it, that why these different rasas are given to you is, finally, what is your goal? Is to build up this relationship with Krishna. And Yashoda was fortunate that she could do it as a mother. So, if you can bring that same emotion like Yashoda to Krishna, Yashoda was fortunate that she actually had Krishna, she gave birth to Krishna, so it came automatically to her. So Vatsalya Rasa is there, which is a form of, getting closer to Krishna. That has been quoted, we know that. But today in this material world, in Kali Yuga, can you bring that rasa? You as a man maybe, can you bring that motherly love? So no. So possibly that is something, so I go by elimination. So that rasa is not for me. Second rasa, you say that, which was there was the friends, the Gopas, who were friends of Krishna. since they were friends to Krishna, you can yourself look in Kali Yuga how friendly you are to your friends. Are your engagement to your friends such selfless way? Because in today's Kali Yuga, even friendship has some kind of intention behind it. So that is again for me, at least personally looking at me, I cannot bring that kind of that kind of rasa to Krishna. Third is the one which Shishupala or somebody had, the hate, Kamsa. They used to hate Krishna. But because of that, they used to keep on thinking about Krishna. And in that way, they got liberated. I cannot bring that kind of rasa too. So I eliminate that rasa also, if I look at it. So the only rasa which I can think of here, which he's been spoken about, if I can again quote to you. Is that the Ashrita Dasa, which is devotees under the Lord's protection. So here, in that there are three subcategories, which is called Sharanagata. Those who take shelters of the Lord protection due to fear of material existence. So, and these kinds of devotees says, being afraid of this material existence, we have taken shelter of you, for you can completely protect us. We cannot think of, it's Caitanya Mahaprabhu or all the other acharyas were some way connected to Krishna in the spiritual world through being, some kind of gopi or whatever, and therefore they got that particular form and that particular devotion and engagement. We can only take inspiration of that, and we are right now, at least me, I am right now at the most basic stage, wherein I have not even built any rasa. The smallest rasa that I can build is when I actually say that Krishna, protect me. I don't know if that is, in a way, it is quoted as a Saranagati rasa here. Like that is some kind of a dasya form. Because it's also said that, which that the soul is in the mode of always serving. Serving means you say sarvus, or being a das. And that is the position we are in, whether you are in the Western world or whether you are from India or wherever. We are beginning from that particular stage and trying to come to a benchmark by having all other rasas around you, which is like the Vatsalya stage or the Gopi stage, that kind of bhav that you can bring, which Caitanya Mahaprabhu or whoever were there could bring in that kind of emotion, is a benchmark. I say that we are trying to work towards that, but right now, at least as far as I am concerned, I am at a very, very basic stage where I can only ask for surrender to Krishna, and then hopefully these will slowly translate to little bit higher. That's the way I could answer it. I don't know whether it makes sense for you.
Yeah, I take my part out of it. Yeah, thank you. It was okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
Somebody has a question?
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Try.